They joked about the quiet guy at Chow. Then they saw his portrait, polished, decorated, and lit in gold. Suddenly, the joke stopped. Master Chief Petty Officer, retired, William Silent Harrison had been working as a civilian dining facility supervisor at Naval Special Warfare Training Center in Coronado for exactly 2 years. At 58 years old, with silver-gray hair and weathered hands that served meals with quiet efficiency, he moved through his duties with the kind of unassuming presence that made him nearly invisible to most. He managed food service operations with methodical precision, coordinated meal schedules with professional courtesy, and maintained the dining facility with the supportive presence that characterized dedicated civilian contractors. To the SEAL candidates and training staff, he was simply the quiet man who ensured their meals were ready, reliable, reserved, and completely unremarkable in his civilian role. What made William particularly effective, though few recognized it at the time, was his uncanny ability to understand the rhythms and needs of military training without ever drawing attention to himself. During Hell Week chaos, he would have hot meals ready exactly when candidates needed them most. During extended training exercises, he seemed to know which personnel would require additional nutrition support. During busy periods when multiple training cycles overlapped, he managed food service operations with efficiency that kept everyone fed while never interfering with training activities or drawing attention to his coordination efforts. His dining facility was organized with precision that exceeded civilian contractor requirements. Every piece of equipment had its designated place. Every meal service was executed with obsessive attention to detail, and every food preparation task was completed with thoroughness that impressed even senior facility management personnel. But there were subtle differences that most people overlooked. Military bearing that seemed natural rather than learned, understanding of military culture that exceeded civilian contractor training, and a personal dignity that seemed to come from experience far beyond food service duties. The personnel knew him through routine encounters and polite interaction. Morning, William, when they entered the dining facility. Thank you, Mr. Harrison, when discussing meal schedules, or simply a respectful nod during busy meal periods. None of them had questioned his background beyond basic contractor qualifications, though many had noticed he possessed unusually comprehensive understanding of military protocols and seemed to coordinate food service with depth that exceeded typical civilian contractor experience. But quiet dignity often conceals extraordinary service, especially when it involves people whose heroic accomplishments remain carefully concealed behind humble professional assignments. Welcome to Silent Salute, where we uncover the extraordinary stories hiding behind ordinary civilian assignments. Before we dive into this incredible tale, tell us in the comments which country you're watching from today. And if you believe that true heroes often work in the shadows, hit that subscribe button to support our channel. We're honored to share these remarkable stories with you. Naval Special Warfare Training Center in the winter of 2022 was operating under comprehensive training protocols designed to honor military tradition while preparing candidates for modern operational challenges. Home to the most elite naval warrior training programs in the world, the facility maintained numerous ceremonial spaces that connected current training with the heroic legacy of naval special warfare. These spaces served both educational and inspirational purposes, reminding candidates of the standards of excellence and sacrifice that defined SEAL culture throughout its distinguished history. The daily rhythm at Coronado included various activities designed to connect candidates with naval special warfare heritage while building their own commitment to excellence. Morning brought physical conditioning that tested their dedication to the standards established by previous generations. Midday featured tactical training that incorporated lessons learned from historical SEAL operations. Afternoon included educational activities that studied the heroic actions of SEAL personnel who had earned the nation's highest military decorations. Evening brought reflective periods where candidates could study the examples of courage and sacrifice that defined SEAL tradition. Through it all, William provided food service support with steady reliability that had characterized his entire tenure at the facility. His meal service was universally appreciated, his coordination with training schedules was unquestioned, and his ability to maintain food service operations during the most demanding training periods impressed personnel and civilian staff alike. He could coordinate complex meal preparation while accommodating unpredictable training schedules, manage food service for large groups without disrupting facility operations, and maintain dining facility readiness during busy periods that tested logistical capabilities. The candidates had formed clear impressions about his role and capabilities. He was exceptional food service support who ensured their nutritional needs were met without compromising training effectiveness. His meal preparation was outstanding, his coordination with facility operations was seamless, and his ability to manage complex food service requirements during demanding training cycles was remarkable. But he also possessed something that couldn't be easily defined, a quiet dignity and understanding of military culture that seemed to come from deep personal connection to military service rather than civilian employment. His interactions with military personnel revealed respect that exceeded professional courtesy. During meal service, he demonstrated genuine appreciation for military culture and traditions. During conversations about military operations, he displayed understanding that suggested personal familiarity with military service. During observations of training activities, he showed interest and knowledge that indicated deep connection to military excellence rather than casual civilian observation. Among the candidates was Petty Officer First Class Marcus Thunder Rodriguez, a former Marine infantry veteran who'd served multiple deployments before applying for SEAL training. Rodriguez was respected by his fellow candidates for his military experience and cultural awareness, but like everyone else, he viewed civilian contractors as well-meaning support personnel who operated outside the warrior culture that defined special operations. William runs the best dining facility I've experienced in 15 years of military service, Rodriguez had mentioned to his swim buddy during their training cycle. He understands military culture and coordinates meal service with training requirements better than most military personnel. Guy supports our mission with dedication that exceeds most civilian contractors. Rodriguez's observation was more accurate than he realized. William's understanding of military culture wasn't learned through civilian employment. It was personal knowledge developed through experiences that most civilian contractors never encounter. His dedication to supporting military personnel came from deep understanding of their mission and personal appreciation for their sacrifice. Seaman First Class Jake Patriot Thompson, who'd served as a Navy yeoman before SEAL training, offered his perspective on William's exceptional service. Some civilian contractors develop that kind of military understanding through family military background or long-term base employment. William probably has military connections or maybe worked on military installations for decades. His appreciation for military culture suggests more than routine civilian experience. But Thompson's theory couldn't explain the specific type of military understanding William displayed, the kind that suggested not just familiarity with military culture, but deep personal connection to military service and genuine understanding of the warrior ethos that defined special operations. There were details that, in retrospect, should have raised questions about his military background. During conversations with senior personnel, he demonstrated knowledge of military traditions that exceeded civilian contractor training. During observations of military ceremonies, he displayed respect and understanding that suggested personal military experience. During discussions about military excellence, he provided insights that indicated deep appreciation for military service rather than casual civilian observation. His bearing during military ceremonies exceeded what civilian contractors typically displayed, often standing with military posture that seemed natural rather than learned. His knowledge of military traditions during facility events exceeded what civilian employment would provide, consistently demonstrating familiarity with protocols and customs that suggested personal military experience. His emotional connection to military excellence during training observations indicated understanding that came from personal service rather than civilian support roles. Chief Petty Officer David Honor Stevens, a 26-year SEAL veteran who served as senior instructor, had noticed these details more than most. "There's something different about William," he'd mentioned to the facility commander during their monthly briefing. His understanding of military culture and his dedication to supporting military personnel suggest personal military experience that exceeds civilian contractor background. Stevens' assessment identified the key characteristic that distinguished William from other contractor personnel. His military understanding and cultural appreciation consistently exceeded what civilian contractor employment would provide. His dedication to supporting military personnel suggested personal connection to military service, and his interaction with military traditions reflected knowledge that came from personal experience rather than civilian observation. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Legacy Johnson, who served as Facility Heritage Officer and managed the various ceremonial spaces that honored naval special warfare history, had also observed William's unusual appreciation for military traditions. William understands military heritage from a personal perspective, Johnson had told the facility commander during their quarterly assessment meeting. His respect for military traditions and his knowledge of SEAL history suggest personal connection to military service rather than civilian contractor employment. Johnson's observation reflected recognition that Williams' military appreciation exceeded civilian contractor qualifications and suggested personal military background that connected him to the traditions he supported through his civilian employment. The facility maintained numerous spaces dedicated to honoring naval special warfare heritage, including the Hall of Heroes that displayed portraits and citations of SEAL personnel who had earned the Medal of Honor and other distinguished military decorations. The hall served as inspiration for candidates and reminder of the standards of excellence that defined SEAL culture. Candidates often visited the Hall of Heroes during their free time, studying the portraits and citations of SEAL heroes who had demonstrated extraordinary courage and sacrifice in service to their nation. The hall provided historical context for their training and helped candidates understand the legacy they were working to join through their participation in SEAL training programs. The incident that would reveal everything occurred during the candidate cycle's scheduled visit to the Hall of Heroes, when they would discover information that would fundamentally change their understanding of Williams' background and his connection to the military excellence they were studying. The visit was planned as part of their heritage education, designed to connect candidates with SEAL history and inspire them through examples of heroic service. The hall contained dozens of portraits and citations representing the finest traditions of naval special warfare excellence. As the candidates moved through the hall, studying portraits and reading citations that described extraordinary acts of heroism, they came upon a display that stopped them completely. The portrait showed a young Navy SEAL in dress uniform with multiple combat decorations, but what caught their attention was the unmistakable face in the photograph. It was William, decades younger, but clearly recognizable as their quiet dining facility supervisor. The portrait was prominently displayed with special lighting that indicated particular significance, and the citation beneath described actions that exceeded anything the candidates had imagined possible. The citation read, "Master Chief Petty Officer William Harrison distinguished himself by extraordinary heroism while serving as team leader with SEAL Team 6 during classified operations in Vietnam. During a prisoner rescue mission behind enemy lines, Master Chief Harrison led his team through overwhelming enemy resistance to successfully extract American prisoners of war. Despite being wounded multiple times, he continued to lead tactical operations that resulted in mission success and the safe return of all rescued personnel. His extraordinary leadership and personal courage reflect the highest traditions of naval special warfare in the United States Navy." Below the citation were listed decorations that included the Navy Cross, Silver Star, Bronze Star with V device, Purple Heart with multiple clusters, and numerous other combat and service awards that represented a distinguished military career spanning over 30 years of active duty. The candidates stood in stunned silence, processing what they had discovered. Their quiet dining facility supervisor, the man they had barely noticed during daily meals, was actually a decorated SEAL hero whose combat record exceeded most military personnel they had ever encountered. Rodriguez was the first to speak, his voice filled with awe and newfound respect. "That's William, our dining facility supervisor. He's a decorated SEAL hero with the Navy Cross and multiple combat decorations from classified operations." Thompson, who had theorized about William's military background, was profoundly affected by the revelation. "He's been serving our meals and managing dining operations, and we had no idea he was a combat hero whose service record exceeds most military personnel." The other candidates struggled to process the information, trying to reconcile their image of William as a quiet civilian contractor with the reality of his extraordinary military service and heroic combat record. The group spent considerable time studying the citation and discussing what they had learned about William's background. His Medal of Honor citation and extensive combat decorations revealed service record that exceeded their understanding of military excellence. When the candidates returned to the dining facility that evening, their interaction with William was fundamentally changed. They approached him with newfound respect and understanding of his true background and heroic service. Rodriguez approached William privately to discuss what they had discovered about his military background. Master Chief Harrison, we visited the Hall of Heroes this afternoon and learned about your Navy Cross citation and distinguished service with SEAL Team 6. We had no idea about your combat record and the extraordinary heroism you demonstrated during classified operations. William's response was measured but confirmed the accuracy of what the candidates had discovered. The operations we conducted required SEAL teams to function under conditions that tested every aspect of training and personal commitment. Those experiences taught me to appreciate the dedication and sacrifice required for special operations excellence. Over the following days, more details about William's background began to emerge through conversations with training staff who had knowledge of his distinguished service record. His military career included multiple combat deployments with the most elite SEAL units during some of the most dangerous and classified operations in naval special warfare history. His leadership experience encompassed responsibility for mission success under the most challenging combat conditions, and his combat decorations reflected proven heroism under enemy fire. What we're learning, Chief Stevens explained to the candidates during a special briefing, is that Master Chief Harrison represents the finest traditions of naval special warfare excellence. His combat record and leadership during classified operations exemplify the standards of heroism and sacrifice that define SEAL culture. His civilian contractor assignment was his personal choice to continue supporting military operations while remaining connected to the SEAL community that had defined his life's work. His decision to work in food service reflected his understanding that effective military operations depend on all types of support, and his willingness to contribute through dining facility management demonstrated dedication that placed service above personal recognition. Upon learning about the candidate's discovery of his military background, William worked with the training staff to provide enhanced heritage education that incorporated lessons learned from his actual combat experience and SEAL operations. The operations I participated in, William explained to the candidates during a special heritage session, taught me that effective SEAL operations require dedication and sacrifice that exceed individual recognition. Military excellence is achieved through service that prioritizes mission success and teammate welfare above personal glory. His enhanced heritage education included realistic discussions of combat leadership where personal courage was required for mission success, examples of SEAL teamwork that achieved objectives under impossible conditions, and insights into the dedication required to maintain SEAL standards throughout military careers that tested personal commitment at the highest levels. The training staff who learned about William's distinguished military background became students of his SEAL heritage knowledge. His combat experience and leadership wisdom were integrated with their heritage education, creating learning opportunities that reflected the authentic traditions and values that define naval special warfare excellence. Working with Master Chief Harrison, Chief Stevens told the candidates, demonstrates the importance of understanding SEAL heritage through the experiences of personnel who lived and exemplified those traditions during actual combat operations. The candidates quickly learned that William's military experience provided insights that enhanced their understanding of SEAL culture and excellence. His combat leadership, heroic service, and continued dedication created learning opportunities that exceeded anything available through conventional heritage education. Rodriguez, who had respected William's food service excellence, became one of his most dedicated students. Master Chief Harrison, your distinguished service record has completely changed how I understand SEAL heritage and excellence. Your combat experience provides insights into military dedication that we could never develop through conventional training. Thompson, who had theorized about William's military connections, gained new appreciation for SEAL heritage and tradition. Master Chief Harrison, your military understanding that I attributed to civilian contractor experience. Now I understand it came from distinguished service that exemplifies the finest SEAL traditions. Stevens, who had recognized William's military understanding, found his assessment confirmed beyond his expectations. Master Chief Harrison, working with you has shown me that the most effective heritage education comes from personnel whose service records exemplify the traditions we're trying to teach. The enhanced heritage education programs that William developed were eventually adopted throughout Naval Special Warfare Command, establishing new standards for tradition and culture education that connected current training with authentic SEAL heritage through the experiences of distinguished veterans. His heritage education methods influenced SEAL culture training worldwide and enhanced candidate understanding of the traditions and values that define naval special warfare excellence. His distinguished service record became a living example of the heroism and dedication that candidates were expected to emulate. The story of Williams' revealed military background became legendary at the training facility, shared with new classes as an example of how extraordinary SEAL heritage often serves through assignments that conceal distinguished service records behind humble civilian responsibilities. The most important lesson you can learn here, heritage instructors would tell new candidates, is that SEAL excellence often comes in unexpected forms. The person serving your meals might be someone whose heroic service record exemplifies the finest traditions you're working to join. Years later, when William eventually transitioned to full retirement, his legacy lived on in the enhanced heritage education programs he developed and in the understanding that true SEAL excellence often requires maintaining humility about distinguished service while continuing to support current generations of SEAL personnel. His story reminded everyone that at naval special warfare installations worldwide, the most dangerous assumptions are those made about civilian contractors who seem to fit perfectly into support roles, because the most distinguished SEAL heroes are often those who choose to continue serving through positions that hide their extraordinary military accomplishments behind humble support. Responsibilities. Williams' distinguished service record became synonymous with the understanding that SEAL heritage represents values and traditions that continue serving through whatever assignments best support current SEAL personnel. His example demonstrated that the most effective military heritage education is often provided by personnel whose service records exemplify the traditions they teach. The moment when the candidates had discovered his portrait in the Hall of Heroes had lasted only minutes, but its impact continued for years, reminding everyone that extraordinary SEAL heritage often works quietly behind the scenes, and that the people we notice least may be the ones with the most distinguished service records to share about excellence and sacrifice in service to the SEAL community. The sight of his decorated portrait lit in gold had demonstrated not just individual recognition, but broader understanding of how distinguished military service creates dedication that transcends official assignments. Williams' willingness to continue serving through civilian contractor positions showed that true SEAL excellence continues through whatever roles best serve current SEAL personnel and training objectives. The enhanced heritage education protocols that emerged from Williams' distinguished service created new standards for tradition and culture training that recognized the value of education informed by actual SEAL combat experience. His methods were studied and implemented across multiple SEAL training facilities, establishing him as a pioneer in authentic heritage education. The candidates who learned from Williams' heritage expertise consistently demonstrated superior understanding of SEAL traditions, values, and culture compared to candidates trained under conventional methods. His influence on SEAL heritage education extended far beyond the specific discovery that had revealed his distinguished background. Rodriguez, who had appreciated Williams' food service excellence, eventually completed SEAL training and became a team leader himself. Throughout his career, he credited Williams' example with teaching him that SEAL excellence requires maintaining dedication to service regardless of current assignment or recognition. Master Chief Harrison didn't just teach me about SEAL heritage, Rodriguez would tell his team members years later. He taught me that true SEAL excellence means continuing to serve the community through whatever assignments best support current SEAL personnel. Thompson, who had theorized about Williams' military background, also completed SEAL training and advanced to senior positions. His experience learning Williams' true background influenced his approach to heritage and tradition throughout his career. What I learned from Master Chief Harrison, Thompson would explain to junior SEAL personnel, is that the finest SEAL traditions are often preserved and taught by those whose distinguished service exemplifies the values we're working to emulate. The Hall of Heroes, where the candidates had discovered William's portrait, became a reminder that assumptions about civilian personnel backgrounds can overlook service records that exceed obvious qualifications. New candidates were briefed about the discovery as an example of how distinguished SEAL heritage often serves through assignments that maintain humility about extraordinary military accomplishments. This story was brought to you by Silent Salute. Before we leave you today, here's our question. Have you ever discovered that someone you knew in a civilian or support capacity actually possessed extraordinary military service records that they kept hidden? Have you encountered people whose humble assignments concealed distinguished military accomplishments and heroic service records? Tell us in the comments about the moments when you realized you'd been working alongside someone whose military heritage exceeded your own understanding. And if you believe that the most distinguished military heroes are often those who continue serving without recognition, hit that subscribe button to support our channel. Every story reminds us that extraordinary military heritage often works quietly behind humble assignments, and that the people we notice least may be the ones with the most distinguished service records to share about excellence and sacrifice in military service. We'll see you in the next story, where we'll discover another incredible tale of hidden military excellence and unexpected heritage recognition.